In the heart of Northeast Ohio, there was a memorial dedicated to the millions of lives lost and to Holocaust survivors and their families who began new lives here after the war. In fact, those behind it, the Kol Israel Foundation, are working to get national recognition so those stories are never forgotten. Here's Laura Queso.
Birthdays, anniversaries of their death, before a Jewish holiday, before there's something wonderful happening in the family, we go to, to talk to them.
It's when Helene Pincus comes here to the Zion Memorial Park in Bedford Heights.
You know it well.
Yes, and strangely enough, most of my parents' friends are around.
Her parents, Holocaust survivors, Anne and Mike Frum, are buried here.
I don't know how they did what they did and still were so good. They were good people.
They met when they were 14 years old as slave laborers in a munition factory in Poland.
They met and they were very young and they did fall in love.
They were separated, but out of pure luck, reunited when they were liberated 5 years later. Anne and Mike got married and eventually settled in Cleveland. And they were motivated to educate us by helping to found the Kol Israel Foundation.
In fact, the first meeting was at our house.
The Kol Israel Foundation was created by Holocaust survivors who made Cleveland home after World War II, an organization that allowed them to share their stories, to educate, to commemorate. It was born in 1960. Then 1 year later, work started on this memorial.
We believe that this is the first of its kind in the country, this memorial. And as I said, it was really very intensive labor for the survivor community to have this built in the first place, and it's something that they were very attached for. You can see that a number of people chose to be buried here to be close to this, to be close to these ashes, right, to feel that connection.
These ashes in the center of it all, ashes of those from 3 different concentration camps, Auschwitz-Birkenau, Majdanek, and Bialystok.
It's always nice to come here to pay the respects and to remember everything that they sacrificed to get here, to build our families here, and also, all of those who weren't able to make it.
The Kol Israel Foundation is pushing to get its Holocaust memorial the recognition they feel it deserves, distinguished as a national landmark so people around the country can visit and gain perspective. Jeremy Joseph is now vice president of the Kol Israel Foundation. He says he grew up learning many lessons from the survivors, including his grandfather, Leo Silberman.
He was a very young teenager when the war came to Poland, where he was sent off to a number of different concentration camps. And at every one, it was a battle for him to survive, and he always seemed to find a way.
And when he was liberated, he continued to find his way.
When I would ask him how he was doing, he would always say, "Can't complain." And that's a lesson that I think I take to everything, because how can I complain about what's going on when there were such horrible things that he went through?
Today, the original mission of the Kol Israel Foundation lives on. Its mission, to educate, touching new lives.
We are the voice of the survivors. It is important for us to provide these firsthand stories, right? Ideally, it would be the survivors telling them. Now that they're unable to do so, we are taking that on for them. And we are trying to tell people that there are things in the world like bigotry and ignorance and hate, and it is important for us to always combat those.
And to remember.
These were my parents.
It's what Helene does and will continue to do.
My mom's been gone 19 years and my dad 5.
She places stones on her parents' grave, a Jewish tradition. Those who sacrificed so much, who continue to teach us, even after their death.
I always tell them to pray for us, to try to keep us all healthy and safe, and to look down on us.
And earlier today, bipartisan legislation was introduced in Congress to designate the Kol Israel Foundation Holocaust Memorial as a national memorial, with Senators Sherrod Brown and Rob Portman introducing companion legislation in the Senate.